What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. It is Mock Draft Monday. I'm your host, Simon, here, as always, with my co-hosts, John, Luke, and Josh. And we've got a special guest today, good friend of the show, Chris Robin, a.k.a. Detroit Beastie on Twitter. He's a DFS whiz, writes for the Undroppables, puts out the DFS cheat sheet. Honestly, his name probably speaks for himself with most of you guys. How's it going, Chris?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'd like the intro could use some work, but I'm cool. Thank you.
Okay, well, next time, give me your notes after the show.
The most amazing man we have ever met in our lives.
Good. There you go. Thank you so much.
Yes.
What's up, Jordan, in the chat?
Jordan?
Schmidt14, what is up? And Didi, how's it going, man? Glad to have you guys here for Mock Draft Monday. We've still got a couple slots left, and when I say a couple, I mean exactly a couple. We've got 2 slots left in the draft for today. I'm going to throw the link in there. If you guys want one, you can snag one of the last 2. But we are doing a Superflex redraft mock draft. Chris, I don't know about you, but Josh has been the Superflex advocate on this show. Jalen and I are actually pretty new to Superflex. I think this past season was my first year in a Superflex league. Is that your preferred format, or do you prefer standard? What's your experience with Superflex?
Well, if I told you I preferred standard, you'd think I'm 80 years old. Like that's the when fantasy football was created, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, just one player at each position. Yeah, Superflex is fantastic. I like the idea of throwing in some IDP, individual defensive players as well. But Superflex is that's the new normal for fantasy purposes. Full point PPR, tight end premium, Superflex, just a ton of letters, and you can just go on and on about the strategy and all that.
So I feel like sometimes whenever we're playing poll perception, I'll throw a poll up and I have to give like 100 qualifiers for the league, like 16 teams, Superflex, full PPR, tiered tight end premium with 1.8. It's like you can just keep going on and on and on. But yeah, it makes it fun.
LMNOP.
IDP. That's one thing. We are not IDP experts by any means, or even novices, but we get lots of requests to do an IDP draft. So maybe we'll have to have you back to do one of those sometime.
I'd love it.
What's up, Spicy?
14-team IDP, full PPR IDP. I've won back-to-back seasons, so
nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's killer.
Spicy.
Is that a redraft or a dynasty league?
It's a dynasty league. It was
awesome.
Just the league has been going on for, I believe, about 25 years. But I was just asked to join 2 seasons ago,
awesome.
so I'd come in
so cool.
to a group of guys that have, they're in their 40s and 50s. They all know each other. They're all friends and family, and the young blood comes in and just wins back-to-back seasons. So it's a blast. They're such good men.
That's awesome.
I know it's not always the case, but I mean, typically when you're taking over for a team, that team's not the best team in the league, right? So good job, I think.
Well, here's the thing. If you give me a moment, they started from scratch because there was like 1 or 2 teams that just kept back-to-back winning in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And again, everybody else felt left out, which is, I don't like that. You don't start over. That's the idea of you build a dynasty and then you win. That's the whole name of the league here. But unfortunately, one of the members passed away. Another one, couldn't do it. He was so ill, he couldn't do it anymore. So they said, let's strip it down. We'll add a couple new players. And I was added, and here we are now. Very good, awesome. Good group of guys. Very, they're good. Fantastic.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Sounds like a fun league. And the way they did it, I know a league format I've been interested in is an Empire League. I've never played in one where it's like a dynasty, but whenever somebody wins twice in a row, the league's over. Or they start over, like kind of they did. So that sounds like a format that's interesting. You go until someone builds an empire. What's up, Roto Heat? Welcome in. Jordan asked, is it PPR? Yes, this is a Superflex PPR. And Z2 saying it's his favorite time of the day.
Me too.
Shouldn't Jordan he's the first overall pick. You don't know the rules yet?
Come on.
Yeah, PPR shouldn't matter too much for that first overall pick anyways. Likely going to be a quarterback. Jeff says normalize campus to Canton. I have not gotten that deep yet, but I see it gaining some traction. And Rick wants to say, I am not absent again. I promise. Thank God, Rick. I was going to have to write you up. You're going to have to get detention if you missed another one of these.
So which one's running Roto Heat then?
Uh-oh, watch out.
Yeah, we got Roto Heat and Rick Butts in here.
Foster. And D. Mendy said it's a party.
It is a party, D. Mendy. Guys, we've got a whole mock draft to get through, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we can get started.
Let's do it. I'm excited for this one.
push the right button, we can do that at least. I'm not drafting again today. I'm gonna be commentating on the draft, asking you guys about your picks. It's kind of giving some general insight on what's going on. Keep it a little bit organized, but and we're gonna move you to the top, me to the bottom, yet again. Hide my ugly face. Keep your mug up top.
Good job, Simon. Good job.
There we go. If you guys are ready, we can go ahead and start the draft. Jordan, you've got the first pick.
So I'd like. So you put my face up top. So what does that? Is that because I'm a guest, or what's going on there?
Yeah, it's a hierarchy. Most handsome. Starts at the bottom.
Starts at the bottom. Man, I messed it.
The tiers of handsomeness.
Yep.
No, so when we put comments up, it's gonna block out the bottom person's face, and no one wants to see Simon's face, right? So
I see him every day.
Rick said I didn't realize I was on that account. And Spicy says I joined the draft, but he's at the gym getting yoked. So I understand. You got to put it in, man. Rick just got done posting a vid, guys. Rick is over at Roto Heat. If you don't follow him on YouTube, go follow him as well. They put out awesome content. And Brady said he's not going to auto draft his first 3 picks. So this draft started with Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback off the board. But just so everyone remembers, this is a Superflex draft. So you can start up to 2 quarterbacks, and there's the second quarterback to JL. Josh Allen is the second quarterback off the board, JL. Is that your number 2 guy?
In redraft, yeah, for sure.
In redraft? I was about to say, I know you've gone
back and forth, Kyler.
Kyler, Josh. What about you, Chris? Who's your number 2 dynasty quarterback? I guess, is your number 1 dynasty quarterback Mahomes?
Well, yeah, I'd be kicked out of the fantasy football.
Oh, you just muted yourself.
Well, excuse me. I said I'd be kicked out of fantasy football if I said, well, Patrick Mahomes isn't all that special. Yeah, he's absolutely by far and away the 101 of Superflex drafts.
Redraft and dynasty. Who's your number 2 guy then after Mahomes?
I would say Josh Allen, and even though Deshaun Watson is going through all this nonsense, I could make a case for Deshaun Watson there just on his his rushing upside alone.
Oh yeah, don't talk dirty to me, Chris.
Hey, you got a bunch of Deshaun lovers on here. Josh, what about you? Who's your number 2 guy after Mahomes? Is it Allen, Murray, Watson, Jackson? We got Jordan in the chat saying Lamar Jackson's his number 2. Wow. I know That's fallen for a lot of people.
I mean, again, we got to remember this is redraft. It's not dynasty. So, Kyler and Josh Allen, they're neck and neck for me. I think Josh Allen was the higher scoring option this year. He had a great year. He's probably a little bit further along. He's probably gonna get more touchdowns, rushing touchdowns than Josh Allen, than Kyler Murray. But I am going to go with Kyler Murray here. Actually, I think Kyler Murray has more of a rushing floor. He's going to get more rushing yards next year. And Lamar Jackson is in that tier with them, in my opinion.
I don't hate that. I think it's Josh Allen for me, but at least for redraft. But I can see the case for any of those guys that we just mentioned. Brady said Deshaun is his QB2 and his favorite player of all time, but he can't take him here because there's a legitimate chance he sits out next year.
Might be my favorite player of all time too.
Real quick, let me play devil's advocate here with Josh Allen.
Up on the clock.
Everything is there for him to repeat what he did last season. There's nothing that's changed. The only thing that you could say about Josh Allen is all positive. Another year under center, working with Diggs, and but do we think that he can repeat or actually do better than he did last season? I think that's the most important question. Well, if you're going to draft him second overall, or if he's your QB2, then you're placing all your chips on he's going to be able to replicate what he did last season, and he might be able to maybe do more than he did. So you got to ask yourself that kind of question.
Yeah, that's a tough bet to make.
Well, I don't think it is too tough because, like Chris said, it's already, a lot of things are held constant. And so in terms of like uncertainty, it's a little bit, less high than some of these other guys. Kyler's in that boat too, right? Not a lot of things are changing for him either.
Drake, Kenyon Drake should leave. One of our commenters said if Drake leaves, I could see Murray's rushing stats go up. Maybe a little bit. I think maybe Chase Edmonds would absorb a lot of that, and I don't see them not bringing in another back. I'm not sure how much a lack of that running back would make Kyler's rushing stats go up. He already rushes quite a bit, but it definitely could marginally help him. I think Jeff's messing with us. He says Trevor Lawrence number 2. I know he likes Justin Fields more than Trevor Lawrence, so I know he's in here messing with us.
He likes a lot of people more than Trevor Lawrence.
Jordan says he believes the Lamar we saw week 13 will be, or week 13 on will be the Lamar we see next season. I mean, that would be a game changer for sure. He would be a value almost where he's being drafted if that's the Lamar we get for a full season. And Rob says he finally made it to a live show. Let's go.
Rob? Let's
and
go.
Nick says hello to me in jail, but he says
What's
screw
up,
you, Chris and Josh.
Fair enough. Man.
He said screw you and Josh. That's what I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean, not directly, but he only said hi to me and Simon.
He sent them private messages all the time. Screw Josh. He doesn't like me very much.
Is there another Simon here? Simon?
Josh, your brother took the first wide receiver off the board right after you took Saquon Barkley. Devontae Adams went off the board. So far through the first round, we've got 5 quarterbacks drafted: Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson. 5 running backs drafted: CMC, JT, Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry, and 1 wide receiver. This is about what the first round has looked like in our Superflex redraft drafts. This is pretty normal. And then Alvin Kamara with the 112. I feel like that's
what a steal.
Followed by Justin Herbert.
I had to. You know what? J-Wall was on damn auto pick because I was going to do Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. And, Nick Chubb, felt good to me there. But I figured Justin Herbert's not going to make his way back. And again, I got out of my game plan in 2 seconds. So I'm not very happy with myself here.
So you wanted to go.
This is what drafts are about, right?
Yeah.
So you have no trouble in a Superflex draft leaving the first 2 rounds without a quarterback?
Yeah, absolutely. My game plan here was to grab 2 stud running backs. I let that get the better of me because I started to get in my own head about Nick Chubb, and people were going to say, well, he's not a true workhorse back because Kareem Hunt is there. I should have just went and did it because it's completely false. Nick Chubb is a stud running back. Let's be honest.
Yes. You don't have to tell Simon.
Yeah, I love me some Nick Chubb. And there goes Zeke. How do you feel about Zeke next year? I'm of the opinion that he's still a stud running back and he's going to have a great year with Dak back, but I see some mixed opinions on Ezekiel Elliott.
I don't know. Here's my thing with Zeke. I'm sure we all know this. As it stands now, toxicity on social media and Twitter is in full-born, nastiness, right? Everybody, you can get Zeke for almost nothing. People, they're just throwing him in trades like he isn't a proven stud running back. Now, again, everybody talks that way. Proven stud, all these buzzwords. I tweeted something out about that, on Saturday, I believe. But Zeke Elliott is still the running back. He's not going to fall off of a cliff. He's still the man in Dallas. Zeke Elliott is going to be fine.
Completely agree.
Yep.
J-Wall says he would have taken Zeke at 111, but he missed it. But he still got him on the turnaround, so it worked out.
Yeah, and Kamara at 112 is stupid value, Rob. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Kamara is stupid value. Rick says Josh Allen 2021 offseason reminds me of 2020 Lamar offseason. I guess it was after Lamar's crazy year. He got hyped up.
Yeah.
He was the unanimous number 2 quarterback. Or number 1. It was him and Patrick Mahomes. You can make that a debate either way who you were going to be drafting first. And he fell off just because they did it once. I guess back to Chris's point about Josh Allen, to project him as the number 2 quarterback, you're projecting almost another career year, that this is the new normal. And what he did this year is going to be what his career looks like. But it's hard when you're going through projections to project anybody for the best stats of their career as opposed to what they've done. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily wrong. His situation's completely different. Mike T wants to know, is this PPR? This is PPR. So this is Superflex PPR. And JB says, shocked Dak didn't go first round. I think he still hasn't signed his contract, right? There is no contract for Dak. There might still be some uncertainty after the injury and lack of a contract, but he's going to sign with Dallas.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait. This is
Dak.
Superflex PPR? Because I didn't know. I'd like to redo my picks.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just rewind the draft. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
We'll go right back. Kev says, bird up. What's up, Kev? Welcome into the draft. We had our second wide receiver taken, Tyreek Hill, at the 2-5, and the player you were talking about got drafted right after Zeke Elliott. Nick Chubb going to the 2-3 right there.
And I would have taken him if he was there at my pick. So,
but instead you went Aaron Jones.
Yeah. Dak wasn't drafted in the first round. That was already brought up, but we've done a couple Superflex dynasty leagues, right? And we've done a redraft, a couple Superflex redraft leagues before. I think you got to keep in mind, I think in dynasty leagues, these young quarterbacks, they're going to be more heavily valued because people are going to consider them starters for the next 10 years in a dynasty league. So it's much more valuable to get those guaranteed next 10 years, throw them into your starting lineup. You're good to go. You know, Joe Burrows of the world, the Trevor Lawrences, you're going to see them gone by now in a dynasty league. But this is a redraft league. It's only 1 year. That matters.
Yeah, you definitely see more of those.
The depth of the quarterback position is so much easier to find 2 quarterbacks than in a dynasty league where, you know, every year there's the bottom 10 quarterbacks are getting filtered out, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. In dynasty, we probably would have seen Burrow and Tua even go at this point. I feel like people are so invested in these young quarterbacks, even if they haven't proven it yet. Just the maybe that Tua could be great, and he's so young.
Let's be honest here. That my first thought about Joe Burrow, just specifically for this draft, I hate to talk in coulda, shoulda, wouldas, but if Burrow, finished out his rookie season and he had not tore up his knee, Burrow, he would have been drafted already, and that's pretty much, I'm not saying anything out of school here.
Yeah, no, 100%, completely agree. And if he's back by game 1, which I've seen reports that he probably could be, that's a horrible statement, that he could be back for week 1, he's going to be a steal in drafts. We have to be able to take that risk, especially if you're drafting now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Russell Wilson went in the middle of that round, and then there's only been 2 quarterbacks drafted in the entire second round, followed by Austin Eckler, Cam Akers, Josh Jacobs, and then Justin Jefferson, the 3rd wide receiver drafted by Swamp Nola. Najee Harris is our first rookie off the board, followed by Travis Kelce at the 212. Even in a super flex league, I feel like that's value.
The fact only, aside from my pick, the first pick of the second round, that only one other quarterback was drafted in the second round, that bums me out even more because, again, I told you, I didn't want to draft a quarterback with my first 2 picks, bang, bang on the turn here. And again, real quick, if I may, I'd like to tell everybody why I chose, the last position in the draft. I've had success. I love those back-to-back picks. I can personally, anybody that has 2 swing picks like that, I'd like to think that I can personally, change the momentum of the draft with back-to-back picks here. If I would have went 2 running backs, I'm sure we would have seen an even longer run on running backs than we already did. Or if I would have chosen 2 very young wide receivers, who's to say that we wouldn't have had a run on young wide receivers after that. So I pay a lot of stock in my draft position, especially, dead last in the draft.
Yeah, I like the end picks, and I think this is something a lot of people already know. It's when you do have those end picks, you kind of have to call your shot, right? You can't really wait on people. You gotta, if you like a guy, you're not going to get him your next pick, right? So you got to take him there, or you got to make a decision, right? So you end up getting your guys, I think, a lot more when you have those end picks.
Absolutely. I can make a pick that I want. As you said, I can make my team how I want it. And I'm trying not to let others dictate what I'm going to do. And I broke my own cardinal rule 2 minutes into the draft.
It is. That's why this is a mock draft, though. Mock drafts are beautiful for that reason.
Absolutely.
Spicy wants to know why Young Hoku hasn't been picked yet. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Nick says... Nick likes your pick, JL likes the Josh Jacobs pick. And then Jordan telling us about his team a little bit. He wanted the Mahomes-Kelsey connection with Kelsey sitting there at 212.
I wanted Swift. I didn't know that. I was looking for him. I didn't see him. I thought he was already taken.
He was already taken.
Well,
whenever it was your pick.
When I took Jacobs.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a pretty hot start for Jordan over there with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Swift. Chris, as a Detroit Lions fan, where do you stand on DeAndre Swift? What's his ceiling next year? People are hyped. I've seen him as high as like RB5 in dynasty rankings. People have him as like a top 5 guy.
Yeah, I think that's about right in terms of where we are in the season. It's, March just started. It's March 8th. So people are, you can ride these waves of people being too crazy or people just undervaluing players. DeAndre Swift has all the talent in the world. And I think what makes him even more desirable is the idea of Anthony Lynn as the offensive coordinator. We saw what he did for Austin Eckler and 80 receptions, 100 receptions. I think they're going to use DeAndre Swift that same way. If you're on the team that Jared Goff is, he's just a serviceable NFL quarterback, or he's awful, he doesn't throw far, then DeAndre Swift is your guy. If you have that rationale, check down Charlie, as they call people. So Goff and Swift, it's going to be a fantastic combo.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And I think maybe I'm not as high on him as I should be. I've got him as a top 10 guy, but I see lots of people up there in the top 5 range. Swamp's here. Who dat? He says he got a new laptop and he spent 30 minutes setting the desktop background, but he's here now.
Nice.
And he likes your name, Chris. He said Detroit Beastie, dope name. It is a pretty sick name. You guys both got your cities in your name. Jordan's apologizing for stealing your guy, JL, and Swamp says hi, Chief.
Chief.
Is that me?
Chief.
I think that Chief.
Who else would it be, Chief?
Brady wants your approval, Josh. He says he drafted the Ravens stack just to get your approval.
Let me see it. I haven't seen it. Lamar, Austin, JK. Okay. I don't know what approval you're looking for. I love Lamar Jackson. I love JK Dobbins. If you expect them to give each other fantasy points, I wouldn't be looking for that. Lamar doesn't throw to his running back very much, but I still love the stack.
Oh, and Josh, your brother comes in here saying you stole AJ from your own.
Yeah, he's
brother.
mine, and I'm gonna get him in our dynasty league too, Jordan. All right, yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
I like the Trevor
We've been in trade talks.
Rob Sullivan says Diggs is the 6th wide receiver off the board is very nice. After that last season for sure. And then Jordan said, I believe Dan Campbell talked about being used like Kamara was. I'm assuming he's talking about Swift.
Yeah.
But that would be awesome. So the 3rd round just finished up, and finally. After more than an entire round, we had the 7th quarterback taken. So there was a big gap after Russell Wilson. Then it waited more than a full round, a round and a half, and Trevor Lawrence was the 7th quarterback drafted. It was a pretty big gap in quarterbacks for the first 3 rounds of a Superflex league. I'm not sure I've seen any of our other leagues go quite like that, our mocks. And then there goes Dak Prescott in the beginning of the 4th round, right after James Robinson.
Great value on Dak, actually. And Trevor, really. Great value.
I was hoping one would fall.
And then great value on Aaron Rodgers. Amazing value, I would say, for a redraft league. All these guys. I would have taken one of those quarterbacks. And now I'm sitting here like I don't really want Burrow because I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be there the entire season. So I think I'm going to pivot, and it's a very, very, very easy pivot for me. I'm gonna show you why. George Kittle's still here.
Yeah, in the 4th round. I was wondering when he was going to get taken. That's incredible value. Brady says the beauty of the stack is I'm guaranteed at least 2 rushing touchdowns a game between Dobbins and Lamar. I mean, all but that's a pretty safe bet. And then Ricky says Michael Thomas in the late 3rd. Merry Christmas. Sorry, I cut you off there, Chris.
I want to ask you guys something, and anybody that's watching along with us live here. So, it was my turn to select, and normally we talked about this before we went live here. The desktop for Sleeper freaks me out. I feel panicked. I feel rushed. You can't scroll down. As soon as you hit the scroll, you go from best available to like the 500th best available person in like one little swipe. So, luckily, I'm going to say this. I set my queue very early on, when I secured my spot here. So the desktop, I'm not going to say it sucks because I like Sleeper and I know some people that work there, but it freaks me out. It makes me rush and it makes me panic, which I absolutely hate to feel.
I'll say it for you. It sucks on the desktop.
and we like Sleeper and we like the guys that work there.
I love Sleeper. It's my favorite app.
Well, they don't spend much time on desktop development. I'll tell you that. I've talked to their head of product, and that's not their focus. It's to build out the mobile experience. So I don't think they'd be offended.
And again, I got my phone out. I'm gonna break my phone out for my next few selections. But I like to think I'm a gentleman. I have a ton of manners, and I don't want to be drafting like this. You can't see my face.
I get it.
You're good. All of us draft on our phones because of the Sleeper desktop app whenever we're doing this. So it's all good. Philip has a trade that he just did. He said he traded Jefferson for Akers straight up. He still has CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and DJ Moore as the wide receivers on his team.
That's fantastic.
Those wide receivers are awesome. And I think you might have overpaid for Akers a little bit, but with the wide receiver depth you have, if you needed that running back, I am fine with that trade as well. Like totally fine with it, especially if it's like a 2 wide receiver league. Sometimes you have to overpay to go get your guy, but what do you guys think of this trade?
I think what you just said, Simon, was perfect, especially if it's like a 2 wide receiver league or something like that. I mean, you went and got your guy. Good for you, man. Trading is so key in fantasy. It makes it amazing. It makes it fun. So I love this trade. Yeah, sure. Is Justin Jefferson going to get drafted ahead of Akers and normally in a dynasty league? I believe so, but I don't think that matters. It's all about your team construction. It looks like you made a good move. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Again, if Philip, if you're still here, like if you could start 3 wide receivers, which is pretty much the case in any format nowadays, I think I would have held on to Jefferson, AJ Brown, and DJ Moore. Those are like soon to be like the top 5 wide receivers in terms of dynasty. I mean, a little bit of a reach with DJ Moore, but we know AJ Brown is like the number 1 overall wide receiver dynasty asset, depending on who you ask. Justin Jefferson is the same way. It's 1, 2, 1A, 1B with JJ and AJ Brown. And then DJ Moore, I think he reaches, not his full potential, but he's going to show us why he's, so fantastic here. But again, I'm a big Akers guy as well. And again, it depends on what you want for the direction of your team or how your league values certain guys. Every league has a different kind of atmosphere. So again, I don't find it to be, a losing situation on either side, just personal opinions.
Yeah, I completely agree. Swamp says, I didn't realize this was redraft. He was drafting a dynasty team, but you know what? It still looks pretty good with Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Kareem Hunt. You know what? So
it's
you
fine.
didn't make anything too crazy. Brady says you won the trade, RB over Akers all day. I'm assuming you meant RB over Jefferson all day. It depends on how you like to build your dynasty teams as well. I like young wide receivers. That's how I like to build my dynasty teams. I probably wouldn't have made that trade, but I know plenty of people who would take the Akers side. They want those running backs. And Brady says the top 10 RBs are worth more than any wide receiver. Again, that changes a little bit in dynasty. That changes things up just a little bit. Then Swamp says that reminds us I'd like to get Simon and Jeff's opinion on the dynasty trade I put in the Discord. I am pulling that up right now so we can discuss
getting
it.
Sniped left and right in this draft. It's pissing me off.
Who'd you get sniped by?
Oh,
Joe
take
Burrow,
your pick.
or-
ETN, Tannehill, Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
Javonte Williams went off the board. Oh, damn.
I was going to say, while I'm pulling that up, we can take a look back at the last couple rounds. So in round 4, it looked like the next run of quarterbacks. You started it, Chris. You said at the turn you can start some trends. You took Trevor Lawrence, and then Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, and Matt Ryan all went just about in the next round. Matt Ryan was in the 5th, not the 4th, but right at the beginning of the 5th. And we had Calvin Ridley drafted in the 4th round. I feel like that's fairly good value on a wide receiver like that. Where do you guys stand on Calvin and Julio for next year? Who scores more fantasy points? Because this is a redraft league.
I'm going to say it's still Julio until proven otherwise. I mean, how can you I don't know. That's all I got. It's Julio. It's Julio until, it's like in a court of law. You're innocent until proven guilty. If you're they land
so you're Julio until proven Calvin.
Correct.
Julio until proven Ridley.
I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to use that in some sort of content coming up. I promise.
There you go. Julio until proven Ridley. It's yours. We won't take it. But I tend to agree. In Dynasty, it seems like a no-brainer to take Calvin Ridley over Julio Jones. Like, obviously, Calvin Ridley's the asset you want in a Dynasty league. But in redraft, I see that like spilling over. Like the excitement for Calvin Ridley. He's being drafted above Julio in a bunch of these redraft drafts. And I'm not sure that's the right move. John Luke.
I'm not sure.
I didn't realize JL was the one who had taken Ridley.
I thought he was best value on the board. To be honest, just talent.
They're very close in my mind. Yeah.
Oh, but all that talk about Julio, he just went to Arsenal 1, 2, 3. That team so far: Dalvin Cook, Russell Wilson, Stephon Diggs, Darren Waller, Julio Jones.
I have him a full tier above.
Really fast, boys. I'm looking now. If you bring up the best available running backs, I mean, we fell off a cliff last round. Drake, Bell, Gordon, Fournette, Gurley, David Johnson, Mostert, Singletary, Connor are the next best available running backs. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's like we're done and falling off the cliff. Like, why are we Coyote?
I feel like I bring this up every time we mock draft, but I felt usually I like to leave those first 3 rounds with at least 2 running backs in a redraft league, and this is a perfect example why I felt boxed in. I had to take Carson or someone because if I don't, I'm stuck with someone who might not even be an RB2.
What is Fournette going to be your RB2? That's scary. Like, could he do well enough? It depends where he lands, but it's scary.
Honestly, I'd be more optimistic to have him than most of the other people on there. But Chris Carson, to me, I'm not a big Chris Carson fan at all, but he's the last one who I feel like is going to at least be playing somewhere, wherever he is.
I completely agree. Rick says Jefferson 2021 offseason reminds him of 2019 Juju offseason. Where the whole of Stars Born, everyone was hyped on Juju.
I feel you there. I get those same vibes myself a little bit. I think Justin Jefferson's a little bit more of a balanced wide receiver, though. I think he can be put all over the field a little bit more than Juju can, and that's the biggest difference, and it matters.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Thielen going into the season? Speaking of another duo where there's an older wide receiver and then a younger guy behind him, or I guess maybe in front of him now. Where do you see Thielen finishing? It's because he hasn't been drafted yet. I don't think it's the middle of the 6th round, and we haven't seen Adam Thielen yet. Do you think that's about right? Do you think he's being undervalued, overvalued?
I mean, I would take probably most of these guys over Thielen.
Thielen scares the hell out of me going into next year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wanted someone else to say it. I didn't want to be the jerk in the room to say that. And again, I'm a huge NFC North slappy. The Lions play there, so I get to see Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago a whole heck of a lot during the season. And I have nothing but respect for Adam Thielen, but at a certain moment in time, there's a changing of the guard, and I don't think it's happened yet. Although people say it has. It's going to take what? 3-4 games in this next coming season, and then this is JJ's team. It's Cook and JJ, and Adam Thielen is, he's got nothing but my respect, and he's going to be. I guess what I think of him depends on where I see him go in drafts. If you draft Adam Thielen in the 2nd round, that's no way. But if you draft him 5th, 6th, 7th round, then yeah, I like what you're doing.
Rick says that whole passing game scares the hell out of me. They don't even want to throw. So my Jefferson comment is more about opportunity to meet value and not that I don't like the talent. That's a great point, Rick.
I agree with what Rob said. I fear that Jefferson is going to be massively overdrafted especially redraft next year.
I mean, kind of related to what Rick said, I see a lot of hype for Baker Mayfield based on how he ended the season. And I'm a Browns fan, and I think Baker's a good quarterback, but that offense does not want to throw the ball as much as they did in the back half of that season. Stefanski wants to run the ball. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, get their tight ends involved. I don't think Baker has the ceiling that you saw, or that you saw over the back half of the season because their passing game. I just don't think that's how the offense is going to operate. The opportunity for him to succeed like that isn't going to be there. He'll be fine, but I don't think it's a pass first offense.
Josh, real quick,
9 straight wide receivers. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Who would you rather have? Your gun to your head. I hate this saying, but would you rather have Justin Jefferson or AJ Brown
in a redraft or dynasty league? It might not matter for me.
No, I don't think it matters. But let's, for the sake of what we're doing here, it's just a redraft league.
In a redraft league, so I've seen AJ Brown for 2 years now, and I know he's had some injuries, but he has proven more to me than Justin Jefferson has, and I think I'm taking AJ Brown over Justin Jefferson regardless, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And in Dynasty, it's the same thing to me. I mean, AJ Brown is just he's like a man's man. I've never had a conversation with him where we didn't talk about
man's man is great.
We didn't talk about beer and cigars like men are supposed to do when they get together. But when AJ Brown gets the ball in his hands, he will run you over by any means necessary to get to the end zone. I'm not saying JJ will do that or can't do that, but JJ seems more of like a tap dance down the sideline kind of guy, whereas an AJ will cut through the middle of the field to run people over and knock people down.
Just look at them. If you just look at them, you'll see what you're talking about. AJ Brown is he's a thick guy, thick. And Justin Jefferson, he's a little bit more lean. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean one or the other is better at football, right? But they were on Twitter, actually, both of these guys, and Justin Jefferson, I forget who tweeted who or whatever happened. But essentially Justin Jefferson was like, yeah, I just had an awesome season, blah, blah, blah. And AJ Brown was like, yeah, you had a great season. Mad respect for you, but you're getting fed 150 targets. Like, give me that many targets. Let's see what happens, right? So
that would be unbelievable, but I don't think that can. Not with Derrick Henry getting 30 carries a game, 25 at the minimum a game. So there's more targets to go around in Minnesota. And with Kirk Cousins, he might throw you the ball 10 times, but only 4 or 5 of them are even catchable. 4 or 5 of them are even on target. This guy couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Guys, we have had a crazy wide receiver run here in the 5th, 6th, and going into the 7th round. 16 of the last 17 picks have been wide receivers, with the only non-wide receiver being Baker Mayfield. And there goes a running back. But yeah, there was a crazy wide receiver run right there. What's up, Sean? Welcome to Mock Draft Monday. We were hoping you would stop in. And then Jay Fuse 2, your brother Jeff. Says his wide receivers for redraft are just stupid good. He's got Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, and Mike Evans. Yeah, that is a solid wide receiver core. Honestly, that's a good wide receiver core for Dynasty. I feel like everyone's all obsessed with the new hotness, like the next generation of receivers. These are not old receivers like Allen Robinson, Mike Evans. Like, they still got years left in the tank. I feel like people are scared off of these like mid-age receivers, grouping them in with the old. And you can get serious value on guys like Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, and Dynasty. I know this is redraft, but Rob says, I fear that Jefferson is going to be massively overdrafted, and sadly, he is a Vikings fan. It's going to be hard for him to outperform his draft capital. Know what I mean? It's another one of those things where you're calling your shot. He has to perform at the level he did last year or better, or you're not going to get the return. Then Jordan says, for Minnesota, the mind behind that offense is now Kubiak's son, Clint, so it could be slightly more pass happy.
When you said Jordan said that, I thought you meant my brother, and I was like, wow, that was way too deep for my brother to say. Like, no.
And back to the A.J. Brown Jefferson talk. A couple books. Ricky said A.J. Brown in both. And then Brady.
Do you guys agree? JL and Simon, would you take A.J. Brown first, too? Or?
Over Jefferson?
Yeah. You're not sure? I think Dynasty, it's closer. Redraft, I think I'm definitely going AJ Brown.
I would take Brown.
I'm taking AJ Brown in both as well. It's closer, though, in Dynasty.
And, I mean, if you want to take Jefferson over AJ Brown in Redraft, that's fine. I mean, the potential's there, so I would.
But Josh will kick in your door and slap you across the face this morning.
Absolutely, every time.
Brady got his pick stolen in Amari Cooper, so he went Adam Thielen there, the guy we were talking about. Then Swamp drafted Baker Mayfield for me, said I'll pull the trigger and draft your guy.
It's a good spot for Baker.
Rick commenting on JFu's team, he secured 26 receptions and 6 touchdowns per week out of his wide receivers. Just about. And then Jordan saying AJ Brown is in his top 3 wide receivers as of now. Tennessee doesn't have a single wide receiver on the roster right now besides AJ Brown. Yeah,
and we were just talking about him getting more targets, and maybe this is how, right?
Brady's calling a pick coming up soon. Says he smells a Kyle Pitts coming soon.
Redraft.
That's the number one rule you don't break in a draft. You don't talk about players that are still undrafted.
Someone wants Pitts every time.
Kyle Pitts is in my queue as number 1, and I didn't think anyone was on him, so I was going to draft him coming up. So just know the next 3 people, if you draft Kyle Pitts, I don't respect you.
He knows where you are.
I don't respect you.
I don't respect you. You thieves.
Please don't draft him, guys. This is all coming back to me. I'm the one who said it out loud. All the blame.
I will shame you. I will drag you in the streets and shame you. And like Game of Thrones, shame. Shame.
Tim says, "Do it, Josh."
Guys, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
Do you want me to pause it?
3.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
1.
I'll take this guy's got a lot of upside. I know he's very polarizing right now, but I think he's having a good season.
And Jordan says he has Detroit in his name. Don't mess with him.
Oh yeah, true. It's literally debt riot.
Chris, I growing up in the South, I had heard all I knew about Detroit was like what people said about Detroit. Know what I mean? Like I just knew like the rep of Detroit, and I went there a couple years ago, and it's a freaking awesome city. Like Detroit was a killer place.
Good job getting Kyle Pitts too.
Yeah, there you go. Kyle Pitts fell to you.
Thank you. So now I'm stuck. I'll tell you my whole process here. So now I'm stuck. I don't know how much time I have because I'm using my phone. Oh, I got like 40 seconds here. So I'm looking at running backs, Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette, not a bad option. I like him. But I'm looking at like some of the rookies here. I think I might take a stab at one of these rookies. But then again, this is redraft. It's not dynasty. But I think, Kenny Gainwell can be good right off the bat. Hopefully there's a preseason. Hopefully, they can all get together for OTAs because this time last year, we were just on the verge of things shutting down and we weren't even able to leave our own homes here. So again, I love Kenny Gainwell, but I just can't pass up JD McKissic. I really love what he can do.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to go JD McKissic in a full point PPR here. We saw McKissic was catching what? He was like averaging like 10 or 11 receptions a game for a little bit of a stretch here. JD McKissic was a DFS darling for me personally and a DFS darling for bottom of the barrel last season.
Are you worried at all about Gibson taking some of that pass catching work in his second year?
No, I think I'll explain it. In my head, I think that they're still going to be in a situation, depending on who their quarterback is, where I don't think they're willing to give Gibson, the keys to the castle just yet. So him working side by side with McKissic, that might be the way that they go in today's day and age. They like to do like combo running backs. When's the last time, aside from Derrick Henry, but the 3 down backs are, that's old news. Most running backs, there's 2 or 3 running backs that are constantly rotating in. So I'm gambling on the fact that Gibson, Gibby, and McKissic are going to work side by side in this coming season.
Yeah, and if they do, that's unbelievable value on that running back in the 8th round. That's a gamble probably worth taking. Jay Wall says he was tempted to take Pitts from you. He almost did it. And then Rick wants to know.
I was slightly tempted, but not with Kittle.
Are you a Tigers fan living up there in Detroit?
Absolutely. I have season tickets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Half season ticket package. So, a full season is like 81 or 82 games. So I have 40 games even for the Tigers. I wasn't able to get down there at all last season. And that it's just not spring or summer if you can't get to a ball game. So last season was a massive bummer.
No, I always lose AJ Dillon. Man, what a good man. I gotta write down these names or something that are lost in sleeper. But
Z2 stole your AJ Dillon, and he took T Higgins.
And I had Aaron Jones. It just feels right getting both of them for some reason.
Josh, you're on auto, by the way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I had him Visca in my queue. I was gonna pick him. I just was like deciding between him and a few other people.
Chris, Jordan's breaking your number 1 draft rule, but he's doing it for himself. He's saying the number 1 in his queue is Gainwell. Letting everyone know. So either he's breaking your rule for himself, or he's trying to.
Oh no!
He's trying to reverse psychology.
I have bad news for you.
The only issue for me, and again, I'm being open and honest and kind of saying things as I think them here. Kenny Gainwell would have been my selection over JD McKissic. 1, this is a mock. 2, the real life draft hasn't happened, so we don't know where these rookies are going to go. But right. That's the old saying. You scout talent, not the helmet. So it doesn't matter where these kids go if you like what you've seen on tape, analytics aside. But we know, or I do at least, what to expect from JD McKissic. Had a fantastic season last year, and again, I haven't been in any mock drafts this season where we've talked about JD McKissic as much as we are now. But again, on a scale here, McKissic and his, definite workload, or Kenny Gainwell is dependent on where he goes. And right there, with 30 seconds left, I chose McKissic.
Yeah, and I completely get that. And Rick says, to back that point up, says McKissic can lose like 25 to 30% of his targets and still hit this value. Like he way outperformed last year, and even if he loses some work, it's still probably going to be a value in the 8th round and a startable running back.
And realistically, I don't see that McKissic loses 25 to 30% is a massive hunk of meat. That's high numbers in terms of value. You draft someone in the 8th round and they have 15% target share, you're screwed. But McKissic and Gibby will work beautifully side by side this season.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that concerns me there, and I like McKissick, is Antonio Gibson's pass catching capabilities. And I think we've mentioned that a lot, but like that he was a wide receiver in college, or he was a hybrid, and we didn't know if he was going to be a wide receiver or running back when he was drafted. But they didn't use him as a freaking pass catcher at all. It's kind of interesting. So I just want to see how it plays out. I don't know what's going on there in Washington, but I'm excited to find out.
Here's my thing. Personally, Washington is, as a Lions fan, I'm envious of Washington and how they built their defense. Realistically, I think Washington is close. I think they're a season or two away, so they might spend this coming year kind of, working things out, trying different combos, let their defense kind of, gel and just become a powerhouse. While on the offensive side of the ball, depending on who their quarterback is, they might spend this year kind of trying to tinker and work things out. And I think that would work in Gibby's favor and McKissick's favor. So, going into the 22 draft or season, I think that's Gibby's season as an RB1. But this season, it's going to be, just kind of let's toy with things.
Rick agrees. He says
like
he
it.
doesn't think he'll lose that work. There's just a large opportunity for success for McKissick there in the 8th round. Completely agree. So out of Akers, Dobbins, Swift, Gibson, Taylor, I'm guessing you've got Gibson 5th for going into next season. Like just for redraft.
Throw James Robinson in there, maybe.
Yeah, I guess James Robinson as well. So those 6 guys, where is Gibson?
I would go just off the top of my head, probably Swift. Or no, JT, Jonathan Taylor, no doubt. Yeah. JT, yes. Swift, Akers, J-Rob, Gibby. Am I missing one?
And then JK.
Dobbins. Dobbins. So I would, what I say, Swift or JT, Swift, Akers. I would still take J-Rob over JK. What I'm saying, what I'm about to say is not profound. It's not earth-shattering here, but JK, his upside is kind of limited with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. If you get in the red zone, it's kind of, it might even be less than 50-50 that Lamar is going to take off and run with the ball. And again, I know what you're going to say. JK scored what in 6 or 7 straight games last season, which is fantastic. But realistically, touchdowns are the most volatile, stat to project here. But again, the combo is fantastic. But personally, I would prefer the other 3 or 4 backs over JK.
I don't blame you for saying that at all. And actually, the point I would make, if you're going to put JK that low, and I would probably put him the same rankings you had, except I would put JK over James Robinson because of the unknown there. But JK, I just don't think Lamar Jackson is interested in throwing to his running backs, checking down at all. He's going to take off and run with the ball before he checks down. And why not? Right. So I think that's where he gets hurt the most, especially in a PPR format.
Yep, completely agree. Tyler's here. How's it going, Tyler? He said, did someone say draft? The king is here. Welcome in.
He is here.
Can't wait to hear your takes about this draft so far.
Tell me you hate my team. I want to hear it.
The king's been here. The king's picking 12. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Detroit.
Okay. I get it.
Jeff just arrived.
welcome, Jeff. Ben Roethlisberger going in the 9th round along with Kirk Cousins.
Josh.
And Josh, you drafted Michael Pittman. Is that who you wanted to draft?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%.
Definitely.
There goes Logan Thomas. And Chase Edmonds in the 9th round. What do you guys think about the value of that pick? I know there's been talk that he could be the lead guy in Arizona. Is that worth a 9th round pick for you?
With all these other running backs, sure. Who else are you going to take over him, right?
Yeah, I probably would have taken him over Lev Bell, who was drafted at the beginning of that round. What about you guys? Chase Edmonds or Lev Bell next season?
Edmonds.
Chase.
Yeah, just take the upside. I mean, Lev Bell could end up in a spot, but what did we see out of him last year that made us think he's ready and he's ready to take on a great workload? Nothing. So
with some more rookies taken, Devonta Smith was taken at the end of the 8th round, and Rondale Moore was taken at the end of the 9th.
I love Rondale Moore.
Oh, amazing!
You guys both love him?
Yeah.
What about
I mean,
I haven't dove into the rookies yet, really.
I have trouble drafting rookies in rookies. I have trouble drafting rookies in redraft of rookie wide receivers because they typically take more time to develop. Rookie running backs are more attractive to me, but Rondo more. I love them as a prospect.
So realistically, I'm sorry to cut you off. My last selection, it was Rondale was a slam dunk for me. And then I was looking down being rude because I was, scrolling through who's available. And if you look at, was I going to draft Todd Gurley, Mostert, or Singletary or James Conner over a young kid like Michael Carter? This is where, these rounds of the draft is what gets kind of sneaky and it gets kind of silly because it's like, do I want in redraft, do I want Todd Gurley? Absolutely not. Or, some other guys. And I'd rather take a rookie, not knowing what his situation and where he's going to go to over a guy like Gurley or Singletary who are just, they're blah. Todd Gurley, I've never seen a faster fall from grace than we have with Todd Gurley. It's unbelievable. And then even James Conner, I tossed that idea around Boston Scott. I mean, he's another good one, but I think Boston Scott is merely a handcuff to whoever has Miles Sanders here. So again, just trying to be opportunistic with Michael Carter there.
Yeah, the later the rounds get, the more I'm inclined to draft the same way, where it's not about like, yeah, you know what you're probably going to get from Todd Gurley, and it's not very good, but there's that guarantee, or you can take a shot on a guy with a serious upside, but serious unknown as well. JL, what was it that you used to say? I know this is slightly different, but value is where opportunity meets uncertainty, or where talent meets uncertainty, or something along those lines. Like whenever there's uncertainty and talent, there's likely going to be value somewhere in that situation.
Yeah.
Tyler says he had some takes on it. He said QB strategy is weird here. It is. We commented on that after that first like 6 guys taken, or 7, there was a weird gap at quarterback. And then he said in redraft, he definitely wants Rodgers much higher and Dak as well. He can't possibly take Trevor over Dak or Rodgers in redraft. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. I haven't looked at Trevor in redraft yet. Just in Dynasty, I know about where I have him. But Chris, you took Trevor Lawrence there ahead of guys like Dak and Aaron Rodgers. What's your reasoning there? You just buy into Urban Meyer's offense down there with Trevor, buying into the talent?
I do. Moments after he's drafted, in April, that's his team. I mean, that's pretty clear. There's no need to, you can sit behind Minshew. You can sit behind, what's his name, Jake Luton, and kind of learn. No, they're giving it to Trevor Lawrence without a shadow of a doubt. You can bet the farm on that. So he's going to be playing and taking QB1 reps from day one. A day after the draft, he's going to be in the facility, in there feeling it out, throwing routes, just, breathing it in. So Trevor Lawrence is going to be their starting quarterback from the moment, the season starts. So I got no issue there. Realistically, I didn't even register that Dak Prescott was still available. But I'm good. I'm not going to, go back on my own draft selection. I love Trevor Lawrence there. And again, what am I looking at? Dak, Aaron Rodgers, absolutely. Tannehill, it's a nice selection there. But again, if I was going to stay away from quarterback with my first 4 or 5 picks, and then so I can, that's the only thing I'd have to worry or not worry about. I can stack up running backs, I can stack up wide receivers, and then I don't have to worry about a quarterback until later in the draft. And realistically, I think the combo of Ryan Tannehill, Matthew Stafford in round 5 or 6 would be fantastic. And in the meantime, you've drafted 3 or 4 stud running backs to go with 2 stud wide receivers. So it's that old saying, a problem shared is a problem cut in half. So if I stayed away from quarterbacks, then my only purpose is to focus on running back and wide receiver. So it cuts my draft kind of in half, and I only have to worry about 2 positions rather than the whole deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes sense. But you had to call an audible there, it looks like, after that Justin Herbert pick, but you've adapted your draft to it. When I was mentioning the rookies that got drafted, Alex reminded me, I almost forgot Rashad Bateman got drafted there in the 8th round as well. Right before Rondale Moore, or 6, 7 picks before him, it looks like.
I like Bateman a lot too. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wide receivers in this class are just as good as last year, I want to say. It's hard to say.
We'll see, because last year was crazy with them coming into the league. Well, maybe talent-wise, but it's going to be hard for them to find near as much production as
that's what I want to say.
Receiver class did.
I want to change what I just said. I want to say talent-wise, their college profiles are very similar. A lot of talent, a lot of wide receiver talent in this 2021 class.
Rick is doing my job for me, guys. If you guys are enjoying this mock draft and you want to watch the rest of ours, go to our YouTube channel, Front Yard Fantasy, and subscribe to us there. You'll never miss another one. We go live every day at 3 p.m. Mock drafts on Monday, games the rest of the days. We have guests quite often. Come on, though. Don't tell our other guests, Chris, especially not Tyler sitting there in the chat. But you've been phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming on. Top tier, guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't tell Tyler again. Remember.
Yeah.
But I do like what Tyler said about the number one team. He really likes the number one team because that's my favorite team so far.
Yeah, team one.
I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and he also mentioned Travis Kelce's Travis Kelce there in the second, at the end of the second round, I think set the tone. And then Swift right there. That was awesome.
Yeah. Did you say that, JL? You said you really like his team?
I do like team one.
Yeah. No, I mean, the wide receivers he's able to get, not drafting one for 5 picks. Bravo, Jordan. You won this league, I think.
Swamp says all 3 of the QBs he was trying to grab were taken from his queue. And then Tyler wanted to say he's Trevor's biggest defender long-term, loves Trevor, just doesn't expect him to be better than Rodgers or Dak year one, which I think is fair. And Josh, yet again, Swamp keeps getting sniped. You stole Gaskin from him.
Yeah. I like Gaskin, but I know everyone's talking about him getting replaced. If he's not replaced, if they don't sign another, running backs at this draft drafted in the first 3 rounds, or that guy they give a lot of money, Gaskins have a really good year. He's not going to be drafted in the 10th round.
Jordan said, "Damn, hurtful." Jordan, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about our other guests. Don't tell Chris. So Jordan was an awesome guest who came on last week. Another DFS guy, Chris. I don't know if you've interacted with him, but he's starting some DFS YouTube series as well, and is putting out a lot of his work and his spreadsheets that he uses for his DraftKings stuff.
Yeah, we chatted this morning, sent a few messages back and forth, and it's been great. I believe I'm going to be with him this week sometime. I'd have to double check my planner, Jordan, but I know we're getting together very soon, to broadcast and chat and see where we stand. And Jordan did send me this massive, list for DFS purposes, all the stats and all the numbers. They were color coordinated, green means good, red means bad. And I looked through it.
Awesome.
And it's awesome. So I appreciate the hard work that Jordan is doing.
Yeah, he was an awesome guest as well. We loved having him on. He says you guys will be on together next week. Does he mean on here or on his show together? Or are you guys scheduling for me? We get the whole squad on here next week for Mock Draft Monday.
Hopefully it's here, but I think it's just me and him somewhere. But I'm not sure. I got to check my planner.
Yeah, you guys watch out for that, because that's 2 awesome minds and awesome people in the DFS space. What are you laughing about, JL?
Tim. Green means go ahead and shut up about it. Classic office quote right there.
All right, so I'm up. I got 2 guys. They're in my queue, and I'm very happy with these 2 selections. Tony Pollard and Jamal Williams for the Packers here. So Tony Pollard, if people think that Zeke is dead or nothing's going on, Tony Pollard saw, a bump in usage this past season. And I think, Dallas, it would be beneficial of them to kind of, Zeke is still their guy, but to work in Tony Pollard, get him 10 to 12 carries a game. I don't think that's unrealistic to say. And when it comes to J. Will, can we all agree that Aaron Jones is not going to be back in Green Bay? And again, we think it's AJ Dillon, but we don't know. J. Will is a fantastic PPR kind of back. He can catch 4 or 5 passes a game, and he'll get 8 to 10 carries a game too. So those 2 selections at that spot, I'm very happy with.
I completely agree. And Jamal Williams, I feel like his role can only grow with Aaron Jones leaving. It's not going to shrink with AJ Dillon taking over. And it's going to be what it was this year or more next year.
And let's say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love the strategy at the end of your draft here. Grabbing these 3 high upside running backs. Like, you kind of took care of your running backs early with Alvin Kamara and James Robinson. And then towards the end of this draft, you took some shots on guys that were far from guaranteed, but had serious upside. I like the way you tackled that.
And let's say, realistically, let's say Aaron Jones is gone. Let's say that's already set in stone. AJ is gone, and they give it to AJ Dillon. What if he struggles and he needs some more time? And who are they going to turn to? Jamal Williams, who was another DFS darling, for me this past season. So again, very happy with the last two selections.
And when they've given Jamal Williams the workload, he has shown he is a above average running back at the very minimum, exactly. And especially in that system. And he's a good pass catcher. They trust him. He can do everything pretty well. So I think it's a great pick with Jamal Williams there.
Great. Jordan chimed in with the details. He says it'll be on YouTube and Twitch, and it's a new series called Inside the DFS Mind, where Jordan is getting a series going on how to get started in DFS and who to follow in each sport. Chris is definitely a good person to have on there. That's an awesome start to that series. I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm excited too. Now that he said it, it's familiar. Again, I have it written all down. It's in my planner. So don't take it the wrong way, Jordan. I'm very much looking forward to it.
And Tyler says, I like that turn from Chris a lot. And that Chris makes a good point that we really don't know where that Dillon is any good. There's minimal evidence for it at best. And then Roto Heat Sully, just to give more context to it, says, provided they re-sign Williams.
Yes.
So
yes, he re-signed.
Really good point.
Yes, we re-signed.
But
they're going to re-sign him, I think.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask Rob, at Roto Heat Sully, where's J. Will going to go and think he's going to be put into a better situation? Yeah. He's gonna stay in Green Bay.
It makes the most sense for both parties, in my opinion, by far.
Swamp says he thinks his team can at least make the 60. Jordan said, who should I take with the last pick? And Swamp wants it to be Eli Manning. But instead, it was Elijah Moore.
It was another Eli.
And the right initials, too. EM. He just picked the wrong EM for you. And then Jordan said that's his favorite rookie. Do you guys have any opinions on that last pick of the draft, Elijah Moore?
Personally, I love it. I'm just now, I've made no bones about it. I don't lie and say, I know all about this rookie class. I kind of move at my own speed, and then I really kick it into high gear after the actual draft. But I don't want to get burned out. I don't want to get exhausted. So I move at my own pace this time of season. And I have a list, like a short list of kids that I want personally, and a short list of kids I'd like to dig deeper on. And Elijah Moore is on that short list.
Yeah,
completely agree. And then Swamp points out getting Brandon Cooks in the last round could be great value.
Great value.
Yeah, that he's done nothing but prove to us time and time again he can find success in whatever situation he is put in.
And I just got sniped into mediocrity. Like I like perfectly middle because of how much I got sniped.
Well, maybe then we probably won't talk about your team tomorrow on the draft recap if it's perfectly mediocre. Tyler says he's exactly the same as Chris. It's good to move at his own pace. And then Jordan says, I know everybody's throwing wide receivers in Green Bay, but give me more for that Cobb role. They got to add something over there. And he corrected it. It's a Cobb roll, ROLE, not the food roll. That is not a new roll made out of corn on the cob. And then Brady says the last round has great running back value. Harris, Penny, Moss, Williams. Yeah.
I agree. I do agree.
Guys, tomorrow on stream, we will go over some of our favorite teams, maybe some of our least favorites if we want to talk about JLs on stream tomorrow. I'll give you guys a rundown. So we're not just talking about Chris and Jordan and Josh's teams in there. But
my team wasn't that good either, I don't think. So
Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know we've looked up to you since we came into this space. It's been awesome having you on today.
Oh, thanks so much. And before we get out of here, I want to, ask a question, maybe toss it around for a minute or two.
Yeah.
What's the point of rushing right now to put out content and, hit the rat race in the beginning of March? We need to stop and slow down every once in a while, so everybody, you look around, everybody's got a draft guide that they're coming out with, or everybody's got rookie profiles, but are they, are they subpar because people are rushing? I want to be the first one. I want to be the first one to talk about Elijah Moore. I want to be the first one to talk about Kenny Gainwell. It's okay to move at your own pace in your own clip. Don't let your mental health suffer, and don't let your long-term, outlook in fantasy football just get dragged through the mud and become exhausted. I'm saying personally, move at my own pace. I'm much more comfortable that way. The work, clearly speaks for itself that way. And that's what I've done for several years. And I've had, great success doing it that way.
I completely agree with you, Chris. And there's a reason we haven't done a rookies only draft, even though it's been requested time and time again. And that's because we're not ready for it. We don't have the best insights to give on those players yet, because we haven't done our deep dive into those players yet, because it hasn't been at the top of our priority list for this time. There's plenty of time in the offseason to kind of dive into those rookies. Yeah. And the time frame you said, like after the NFL draft, is probably where we're going to get the most information out anyways. Might as well do it then.
I've been on several broadcasts the last few weeks, and you guys know it best. You get a show sheet, you kind of get a heads up of, what you're going to talk about. And there's been certain times where, a guest has asked me, what do I think of Javonte Williams, or what do I think about Tylan Wallace from OSU? And simply put, I said, look, I don't know. I have a little bit of knowledge, but in all, seriousness, I just, all I know is, speaking from my heart or speaking from my soul, which could be better in some factors rather than, reading from a piece of paper. Well, I like Javonte Williams because, just like, give it your own style, give it your own speed, and speak from your, open and honestly. And who's going to fault you for that? If I say, I don't know, but this is what I honestly think, how can someone say, oh, well, Chris is a jerk, he's an idiot? He spoke truthfully from his gut. How
you heard us say that?
Absolutely.
I thought we were muted now.
No, I completely agree. There's no need to force that out before it's ready. You can admit that you don't know something. I feel like sometimes people are afraid to admit, like, I don't know, or when asked about a player, they feel like they have to have a take. But you can say, like, I need to look into it more. I need to read more about this, and I haven't done that yet. That's that pressure shouldn't exist, Chris. I agree with you.
To your point, Chris, I mean, like these rookies, I've looked into a lot of these rookies, and we'll get asked on the show like how we feel about them, or if we want to do a rookie draft. But like, even if I have looked at them, I still want to do more. I want to give you the best information possible. So to your point, exactly. I'm right there with you.
Roto Heat Sully says, great show yet again, boys. Well done. And Jordan said we didn't have to plug this on here, but I want to because Jordan's a friend of the show. Said if anybody wants to learn about DFS, he starts the series, the one that Chris will be on next week, tonight with College Guru at 8 p.m. Eastern. So, guys, look out for that from Jordan. It should be a good series. Chris, guys, everyone, if you don't follow him on Twitter, it is at Detroit Beastie. You need to make sure to give him a follow. If you're into DFS, if you're into Redraft, he puts out great content for both. Is there anywhere else people should be following you, Chris? I know you said something about Facebook groups or a YouTube channel or anything.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I've said it here with you guys. I know I've told John Luke this before, but I'd like to think if you're looking for me, you don't have to look far. And that's not, being self-serving or egotistical. It's basically matter of fact. So you find me at Detroit Beastie. I pride myself on getting back to everybody who messages me, tags me, ats me. That's kind of what I do, and that's what I enjoy the most. So just find me on Twitter, Facebook, Chris Robin, nothing special. And again, shout out to John Luke for, the clubhouse invite and everything we got going on there tomorrow night, Tuesday night, starting our own kind of undroppables thing. I'm live with Tommy Moe again. We did it last Tuesday. We're doing it again tomorrow. So I'm trying not to oversaturate everybody with seeing my face or hearing my voice. I think, people can, kick me out or say we're so sick of seeing Detroit Beastie here, but thanks for everyone's support, and I appreciate everything.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I don't know if I speak for everyone, but we want more of your face.
I was about to say, if they're saturated, we go live every single day. They're probably oversaturated with us at this point. Yes. Yeah, maybe we go full solo layout to end the show. There we go. There's enough of your face.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Again, guys, follow him at Detroit Beastie. You can follow us. Sorry, my brain just quit on me for a second there. We are Front Yard Fantasy. You can follow us at Front Yard Fantasy on Twitch and on YouTube. You can subscribe over there. We're on Twitter at Front Yard FYF. Josh, John Luke, any last words you guys got?
Trading makes fantasy fun. That's all I got.
There we go. Chris, what about any last words before we jump off the stream? Last words sounds so ominous. I need to come up with a new way to say it. Any last words?
Stop and smell the roses. Trust your gut and stop and take it all in every once in a while.
I like you, Chris. I like you a lot.
That's all we got today, guys. Remember, stop and smell the roses from Chris. Trading Makes Fantasy Fun from Josh. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. And before I forget, Rick Butts from Roto Heat is joining us tomorrow to play Pole Perception. So you do not want to miss that one. Rick's going to be in here playing Pole Perception with us. Roto Heat versus Front Yard Fantasy. We'll see who comes out on top tomorrow. Ooh, adios, guys.
Love you guys.